Hey YouTube, and welcome to my live. I'm also live on TikTok. I'm going to go live on Instagram as well. Rather than me just kind of like duplicating what I'm saying, I might as well just do it threes. So hey Instagram, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor Leah Lauder, and I'm live. I'm live on TikTok and I'm live on YouTube. And today I'm going to be talking about loyalty and disloyalty and why cults are so obsessed with this rhetoric. I'm also, if we've got time, not actually if we've got time, I think we will get into it today, guys. I can't lie. I have been speaking to a few male survivors because, as I said, I'm home girl. And they've been disclosing really personal details about their struggles with hypersexuality, eggshell addiction, how they've struggled with that during being in the cult. I'm also going to be exposing, but I don't really see this as an expose. I'm exposing First Love Church cult for them just being so controlling that, we've got pastors doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But again, some of these pastors have been victims. And I'm not talking about when they essay or eat from the great bowl. Thank you for the follow, Enigma, because if they're eating from the great bowl and they're saying, gal, them, there's, do you know what I mean? They just need to be dealt with. I'm talking about the guys that might have, hypersexuality or be struggling with certain sexual sins and stuff and still trying to strive for this perfection that doesn't exist, that isn't real. I'm going to be unmasking and exposing that, but I'm also going to be looking at the I don't know, like I want to say the vulnerable male. Oh guys, I need to go and get my charger. Oh god, this is so ghetto. 1 second, guys. I want to say the vulnerable male because in there, YouTube, wait, yeah. You lot, give me a sec. In there, everything's like hyper masculinity. Okay, so that's what makes them vulnerable because that's a very toxic perception of what masculinity looks like. 1 second. Oh my god, sorry guys. So they've got this hyper masculinity, and also because they don't have like father role models, they don't have father role models. They've got really toxic examples of these false role models, and they've never had an example of what a father really is. So when these toxic hyper masculine uncles, El Pimpiano, hey baby, thanks for the share. When we have these these uncles with these like very archaic kind of like rhetorics, do you know what I'm saying, where it's so misogynistic and patriarchal. It's the most toxic parts of the culture, and not only within the BLK community, guys. I don't even think anyone's going to be able to hear me on Instagram. Is somebody able to go on my Instagram and check if they can hear me, please? That would be great. Woo! Sorry, YouTube, you're in for a ride. And Insta, I don't know how we're going to make this work. Once I get this done, oh, brilliant. Okay. Oh, it's not charging. I'm so sorry about this, guys. Let me just get this together. YouTube. Nance, can you hear me? Or is it silent on here? I think the kids have broken the charger and they've tried not to tell me. Can you hear me on here, girl? Let me know in the comments. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting it together on Instagram. We're having a bit of a technical fault. Can hear you on Instagram. Oh, you can? Oh, all right then. Let's just get a charger to work then. Oh, all right. Guys, do you know what? Yeah, does anyone have kids who just break the chargers? Instagram, I might have to tell you to come on to YouTube if this one doesn't work. Unfortunately, they've broken all the chargers. All right, Instagram, I'm gonna have to go and I'm gonna save this recording, but come onto the YouTube. I'm really upset about this because they didn't tell me that they broke the charger, which is really quite irritating. All right. They break everything, innit? It's so irritating because like I've gone and disrupted the live. If they just told me that when I went in there, mummy, the charger's not working, but they don't want to tell me because this is like, how many chargers have they broken in the week? All right. God, guys. Bloody hell. All right. So let me share this. Let's get into it, because then I can just concentrate a little bit more. I'm really sorry for all the disruption, guys. I'm on TikTok blood. What does that mean? All right. So I've been talking about loyalty and disloyalty because they are fixated on this in cults, yeah. So when you see this kind of stuff going in these so-called places and spaces of worship, then you know something's up. Something's wrong. Because if you're supposed to be going to a place or space of worship, it shouldn't be controlling your every move. They shouldn't be controlling, and dictating who you can marry and who you can't. And so this is the issue that we get, because a lot of people that are getting married young or getting coerced to marry young, they've got a lot of issues from the past. And this is the problem. A lot of issues that are involving hypersexuality, emotional unavailability, which is another one that I wanted to talk about today, because I think the males struggle with emotional unavailability. And then I think when they come into these settings, it really is exasperated, because it's like Andrew Tate on steroids. You know what I mean? They can't feel, they can't have, do you know what I'm saying? Like real emotions. So let's get back into what I was talking about with the loyalty and disloyalty rhetoric, and then we'll get into how they control relationships and how this can lead to like, preds and also the victims in men that suffer with so many different issues and emotions, and they don't feel like they can vent how they feel. All right. So I'm just going to talk about the neuroscience and the psychology link behind why these cults teach on loyalty and disloyalty so much. So if you haven't checked out part 1, please do on my YouTube channel, Leah Lauder 777. So looking at cult psychology, and when we look at the group dynamics, and in some neuroscience metaphysics, it can explain how these loyalty systems work, both in terms of Dagwood Mill's teaching and the indoctrination that he does up with the members, but also more broadly. So from cult psychoed, groups that emphasize total loyalty use tactics such as controlling dissent, so controlling your thoughts, you don't actually have any critical thinking, promoting leader dependency. So the environment becomes like a DRUG. So you'll find that there's a lot of recovering addicts in there. A lot of people with a lot of comorbid traumatic past will end up in these settings. So it's like, they will say to you, they'll indoctrinate you that like you in the wisdom of counsel, I don't know, whatever, there's wisdom in counsel and all of this, and they'll just be indoctrinating you through the counseling. So what that does is that makes you dependent to the group and like to the advice, so you're not actually thinking. And then there's already that dynamic with the canon where they don't use their brain. It's like whatever the religion tells them, they could have facts, that the pastor could be buying jets and all the congregation is starving, but it doesn't matter, because he needs that to go and preach to the world, because that's more important. So common sense goes out the window. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Thank you, babe. Are you a first love survivor? You must be. All right. And then isolation. There's a lot of isolation, devaluing outsiders. So you'll get the us versus them, user 150 in the car. You'll get the us versus them. You'll get the, shutting down, closed system. Listen, Yarn Lalage calls it a self-sealing system. But do you know what? I think I want to call it a closed system. Yeah. Because once you're in that system, boy, it's almost impossible to get out. And that's why I say with us, yeah, we need to be kind to ourselves. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we actually managed to get out. And another thing is as well, guys, we're trying to navigate normal life outside of this. We've got to remember this. We've got, you know what I'm saying? Because everything in there is so fake. And you know what as well? Yeah, we've been used to using a lot of our codependency mechanisms, not only in these environments, but also outside, just in every area and aspect of our life. So healing, what healing looks like is healing looks messy. Healing looks like all your shadows coming to the forefront. It looks like telling the truth. It looks like facing yourself in the mirror and saying, this is what my issue is. I'm working through it. All right. So, so one article notes, individuals may benefit from group protection, but the price is restricted. Potential to become independent human beings. So you don't even have your autonomous thinking. So you'll have the backing of the group, and what you'll notice, oh my God, you TikTok, like up the live, man. What's going on? User 150, I do see you, but can everyone else like up the live? Because I have to have 8 accounts just to speak my truth, because they try and get me off. So can we all work together to like up the live? If you're on the FYP and you're a survivor, can I ask that you come in and help like up the live? Curvy Vibes in the cut. Comment Healing GC in the cut. DJ in the cut. Like up the live, you lot. Because they've been trying to get me off. And the way I'm going to start exposing up, especially First Love and RPF, y'all. Let's get in the cut. Let's protect up our space. So neuroscience and psychology support. So loyalty and group belonging activate reward systems in the brain. So it produces dopamine and oxytocin. So they are rewiring your brain, completely excluding you, cutting you off from the outside world and creating that dopamine rush, creating that oxytocin. So your body, your neurosystem is becoming rewired, your brain, to see it as when I come here, I'm happy, I'm this, I'm that. Then they change the meaning of things. We're rebuking you because we love you. The Lord chasteneth those whom he loves. So people are going there thinking, I'm loved, because they've been through crazy stuff. They've never been loved. So you don't know what it looks like to be loved. Or you've been in coercive, controlling environments. You've been in abusive relationships. So you've just cult environment hopped. It doesn't have to be church cult hopping. It could be codependency. You could have, you know, like a pattern of codependency in things, people, groups, whatever. So you've got to be able to notice the cycle so that you can allow these shadow things to come to the forefront so that you can address it. I also have good news for you, Leah, on Frank's Lunch Club live podcast next Friday at 1 p.m. Is it? What's that? Are you going on a podcast? Is that Dennis? Are you going on a podcast to expose your cult? You got to tell me, man, because we could do a little preview. All right. So while exclusion triggers pain and stress systems, do you see that they're using positive and negative reinforcement? Because even if the love is ABUSC and the positivity is negativity, they've rewired your brain to see it through the lens of hyper-religiosity. You're in religious psychosis now. You don't know whether you're coming or going. Thanks, DJ. You don't know whether you're coming or going. You put a lot of us entered into the cut in psychosis. And then we just exchanged whatever with now hyper-religiosity. So actually, guys, it's just psychosis. But you know, they've got so much power. If they were to say that religious it would be all of them. Don't you get it? So that's why they can't brand it as that, because then they're saying all people who are into religion are in psychosis. And I think in years to come, I think there'll be a lot more evidence to support that notion. But for now, we're kind of like just coming out of you get what I'm saying? We're just seeing the silver lining. So we got to be smart. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that are like in cognitive dissonance. So they know it's wrong, but they're still they're like in other places and spaces of worship. So they're not fully in agreement, but they'll be open to listen. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay. So although there's not direct neuroscience, you know, on this hypotheses, what we do have is we have citations in context to this. So, for example, belonging matters deeply for humans. So when we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when we look at attachment, we can see these things are at play in the cults, within the tactics. Yeah. Oh, your message hasn't come out, my love. The father-son framework leverages attachment psychology. People look for a parent figure to give guidance and approval. What they do is, because the most powerful scripture in the Bible is honor your mother and father so that it might be well with you and your days might be long, or whatever it is. So they replace like the level, the role in your psyche of your parents. It's like it's the cult leader now, and it's his wog. So you see people saying mummy, you see people saying daddy. Another thing as well is if you walk in there with a secure attachment, like say like you came from a loving household, it may not even be a 2.0 parent, just a mum that loved you, whatever. Now you're going to go into this environment with a narcissist. The woman doesn't even know how to love. She's like a stone. Thanks for the follow, KB. She's a mean girl stone. She's got no love in her heart. She just beats and breaks you down, and she's jealous of you. So your mum might not have been married and she might not have been perfect, but she weren't a pick-me, and she's never been a hater, and she's never been a mean girl, and she's never been jealous a day in her life. So guess what? She might have been a single mum. Guess what? She might have been fornicating, but her heart is good. So she didn't raise a gal that was a pick-me, craving for like a desperado. She didn't raise no FOOL. She raised the queen. So when you went in there and you're sitting under the feet of a pick-me, a woman that barely has education, that's just been groomed and beaten down in the cult too. So it's like giving battered wife syndrome. And so now you're insecure, and you've completely lost yourself. You're a shell of yourself. UGLY on the inside and out, because she's probably changed your clothes to look like Saint Mode. Do you know what I'm saying? This like an apron, a fitted apron of, apparently modest clothing that ages you by about 35 years, that you don't feel feminine in, you don't feel sexy in, you don't feel like a woman in. All right. Okay. So at the end of the day, like, what y'all need to realize is in your self-sealing systems, like be delulu in it. But as soon as you take that wog, as soon as you take that first lady outside of that self-sealing system and you try to introduce her and a war and a day and a how and a time and a place and a war, everyone's going to be looking at you like, are you all right? Why are you moving with this auntie? Clean the floor clothes. Woo! Yeah, girl. It's a trowel. It's a trowel. They got a trowel wiping the floors. You're so right. All right. So loyalty to that figure taps into deep developmental systems. The cult literature argues that this dependency is exploited. So they can also exploit you if you haven't had a father figure, you haven't had a family dynamic. They will sell the high control environment to you. Like, we're a family. You didn't have a dad, that's okay. We've got spiritual fathers. You didn't have a family to love you. Now the Lord, there's a scripture that talks about us, like being orphans, and it's like the sonship. Like, does anyone know that scripture that I'm talking about? And it's like God's taken us into his sonship. So it doesn't matter if you're an orphan, you're there. So they really do create like this family vibe. They make people think like, we've got you, we're going to be there for you. And then as soon as you have a mental health breakdown, or you fornicate with their their favorite drummer, or the right hand of the pastor, that's it. That's when you see their EVIL side, boy. They love that word family. Yeah. And the thing is, when Dag was, he had to face allegations. People are saying that your church is a cult. He said, my church is not a cult. We are a family. Yeah. So families can be quite cultish, guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not, because we know that families can be the most dysfunctional. What that's given when they say that the cult is like a family is that they're going to ABUSEU. There's going to be the pred uncle in there that's feeling up all of his nephews and nieces, and they're going to be brushing it under the carpet. There's going to be transfers of preds and pastors eating out of the great bowl that are going to get transferred to Ghana, this, that, and the third. That's what they're telling you. Because in a family, they're not going to want you to call on Uncle Rob that's been feeling up all the kids, are they? They're going to want you to, he will deal with it. Da, 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 da. And as a BLK community, we like to brush things under the carpet as well when that stuff happens. We don't like to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it today. And like I said, the generations that are coming after me, they ain't going to have a bar of it. Neither are the parents, BTW, because some of these single mums, you lot are going and taking their youths thinking, oh yeah, they're from the ghetto. They don't know. These women love their kids. So carry on, because there's mothers younger than me that have their kids in their chair and they ain't no Eid yet. So carry on. Because as they're getting more desperate, they're going to be recruiting more vulnerable people, and they're going to be coming from more dysfunctional upbringings. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it can get real sticky. Cognitive dissonance theory explained. Let's look at it. So once one has committed, loyalty, time, money, identity, leaving would create dissonance. That's why some people can't leave. Also, the currency of this universe is not money. It's not the king's face on a piece of paper. It is your energy. It is your time. So that's why you get paid to go to work. It's for your time. They don't pay you in these places of worship. They're thieves. So what they do is they do free labor for profit. So they make a profit on absolutely everything. They're selling invisible blessings. The books are human fecal matter. They probably cost about 20 pence to make. They make us do book auctions where we pay upwards of £200 for a book that probably cost about 20p to make. So there's a lot of exploitation. So that's why people have to have cognitive dissonance. Like, oh, £200, he's coming to make us buy these books, and I've got no need for it. But I'm just going to buy it but because we're in this economic crisis right now, I think people are questioning things a little bit more. And I think they're holding on to their purse strings and their pennies a little bit more. And I don't think it's helping that there's all of this exposure. They're getting exposed for the things that they spent the money on. I don't think there's as much of a cash flow as there was before. That's why Caris are charging £170 for a single seminar, for a Valentine's ball, and telling people that they can pay in 4 transactions. So do you see, when they're indoctrinating us and they want us to do what they want, they'll be telling us be a lender and not a borrower. That's why Dag said we shouldn't take out cards, we shouldn't borrow money, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. But it's okay to borrow money from the church when they want us to pay £173 for a single seminar. Then we can pay in 4 parts. So do you see the contradictions? They use the laws of the land when it's convenient for them. And this is what you'll find with these people is they're the most dangerous, because they're master manipulators. Anyone that goes to these places of worship, yeah, they are master manipulators. Okay, so they know how to twist and manipulate the things like in the world for their convenience or for their benefit, and then demonize the other parts of it when it doesn't benefit them. So what that is information control, because people are not getting access to information, to knowledge, to better themselves, to whatever, because it's being gatekept and demonized by the cult. Thanks, Ange. Love you. So that's information control. So one stays loyal and rationalizes staying rather than leaving. This supports the system of loyalty. So the system of loyalty is that's the transcendental belief system that traps you and seals you in the self-sealing system. Metaphysics and spiritual identity. When loyalty is framed as spiritual sonship or daughterhood, the psychological effect is stronger, not just employee, but child of the house. Identity is personal and existential. So again, your identity, your reason for living and breathing becomes wrapped around this fake identity. That's why they really do take pride in these positions and titles. And they create this pyramid scheme, and everything will be about ranking, positions, titles, all of that in a cult. They're not doing that up in a church. That's what they do in a cult. Yeah. So a cult, you'll find with like pyramid scheme, like workplaces, you'll also see those are cults. Those are high control environments. Again, you're inviting someone to bring in someone for it to go up the, it's the same thing as these pyramid schemes where they're inviting people to get into the pyramid scheme. It's the same model. It's the same structure that they use in these church cults. So the business model that they use is these pyramid scheme structures. Okay. And it works really well in the BLK community, because back in the day, we had like these banks that we used to do. I can't remember the name of it, but in the community, everyone would give money until they started running off with the money. But the whole idea is that we would have our own banks and be able to save. So it's that whole ideology of crowdfunding, except these borsters, these mogs, they do it. They steal from the poor, from their own people. Why? Because they've got the colonizer's mind, and then they give to the rich themselves. Susu. Oh, okay. Is that what you call it in your bit? Susu. Okay. All right. So they've got different names. They've got different names depending on your culture and what part of the world you're from. But that's basically, it's like a community banking system. Oh, in Ghana they call it Susu. Okay. And they've actually done them pyramid schemes in ministries under Dagwood Mills. Pardoner. Okay. These banks are called Pardoner in the Caribbean. Okay. All right. Yeah, so Pardoner, it's them type of bank things, yeah? So you can see that they use it's the same thing, guys, but they run off with the money. We never see the fruits of this money. All we get is invisible blessings, laying on of hands. Why is it that when they're calling for £1,000 offering, then these guys can see in the spirit that this guy's got a prophetic calling, or he's got he's going to marry a wife? Another thing that they like to do up in these cults is, if the guy is neurodivergent and he's got a good job, because usually these neurodivergent guys do have good jobs, and they give a lot of money to the cult, then when they get a girlfriend that doesn't look like she's going to stay, or that's a threat to the cult, then they break them up and they push the girl out. Because these guys, they'll usually pay their tithes religiously, they'll give money, they'll give offerings. So they could be like the number one pred in there. Official posture vibes in the cup, Miss CHF. They could be the number one pred in there, but because he gives the tithe and he gives a lot of money, do you get what I'm saying? They're going to protect him at all costs, even if he's essaying gal in there, even if he sleeps with so many gal. They don't mind losing them gal, like Pastor Marvin. Woo! Which one's that from? Which cult, girl? Ooh. Ooh, people like it. Do you know what? I think the survivors have just had enough at this point. Do you know that? Like, so many survivors have been reaching out to me. I'm inundated. For the past couple of days, I've been speaking to survivors back to back. I'm going to have a self-love day. I think on Thursday, I'm going to have to do up a self-love day and completely switch off. So you guys will see me on Thursday, like all beautiful and calm and glowing. Guys, do you want me to share my self-love routines? Because I don't believe in skincare and all that bitch. Because you can do all the skincare you want to do, but if you're not happy within chair, the body keeps the score, so you're gonna get wrinkles and whatever. It's not about all these secret creams. It's about going within. It's about loving yourself. If you're gonna do any facial stuff, anything to your skin, go and unlock the sacred knowledge behind what did Cleopatra do? What did the Egyptian women do? What berries did they go and look at the natural products, the herbs, the things like that. When the woman said 1,200, it meant to be 2K. Oh, you're talking about Marvin Wine and Cher. Yeah, no, that guy's at MESS. Did you see how I put on move, beat, get out the way, bit? Did you like it? Because, yeah, man, I thought, nah, I got to put this up. It's ridiculous. So why someone must understand loyalty and disloyalty to become a spiritual son or daughter of the house. This is a rule, an unspoken rule and law in the cult. And once you get inside the system, this is what will be drilled into your head. So in Dagwood Mill's teaching, the prerequisite to become a spiritual son, daughter of the house, so this is a direct outcome of becoming a spiritual daughter of the house, is learning the loyalty script. So especially first lovers, it's like they talk in script text. And that is because they are regurgitating slurs and tones from this false doctrine that has been drilled and force-fed into them spiritually. They live and breathe the false doctrine. If you do not recognize loyalty and disloyalty, you cannot fit into his spiritual family structure. So again, what we see with the loyalty and disloyalty false doctrine as well is like transactional love. So it's like, in order to be a son or a daughter of mine, you have to be basically brainwashed with my doctrine. You have to understand this doctrine inside and out. You have to have exams on it. You have to be quizzed on it. You need to know it inside and out. And also, they have if you look at the elitist ones, like especially the second geners, that they are weird AF chat. They got no personality whatsoever. They are so strange. All they talk about is the cult leader. They've got no life outside of it, or they're just 304s, absolute 304s. So they just lurk in the corridors of the cult, and they get away with ruining so many women, taking women's virginities, turning them MAD, making them get sectioned, women leaving the church, getting all terminate, all of that. And they just flutter around because they've had such a traumatic upbringing. They're usually missionaries' kids, or, you know, like big mogs or whatever. So they haven't poured into their kids emotionally. They've just been neglected their whole life. So they project, and they try and get like attention. And then you have to remember, these guys have grown up in these settings their whole life. So if they were going to be a 304 outside in these streets, what streets are they going to do it in? They're going to do it in these church streets. They're going to do it in these cult streets. So I don't really like to, I'm not trying to demonize, because some of these preds, again, I'm not talking about eating from the great pot, and I'm not talking about SA. I'm talking about guys that are players in there and just sleeping with all the women, because there is a difference between men that have had like hyper-sexualized past, have struggled with certain things because they've been abused as a child. So again, we can look at theories and ideological perspectives like victim versus perpetrator model, where, for example, if a child saw daddy putting hands on mummy, then he would then do that to his girlfriend, because that's through social learning, that's learnt behavior. So do you see, as the victim, the child seeing his mummy get weighed in from like 5 years old, feeling helpless, probably the dad weighing in on him? That's learnt behavior. So the victim has now become the abuser. The perpetrator is a model that you should look into. Do we say, oh, we're going to excuse their behavior? Hell no. If they've put hands on women, they still need to do the time. However, we need to recognize, because there needs to be a restorative piece. There needs to be a piece where these perpetrators reintegrate into society. So we also need to look at it from a public health approach, which involves going into trauma, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, etc. They are 304s in spiritual father's prison sentence. Yes, Denny, I love that. That's exactly what they are. And what I mean by 304s is, it's street slang. It's just gal them that are just messy, that just, do you know what I mean? Because some of these gal them, I call them 304s, but they're virgins. They might even have a lower body count than me. But remember, I'm 40 though. I'm going to be 40 soon, but still. My old cult leader, Climate, is a player. He is very slippery and cunning. Ooh, yeah. Remember, I got that random broad that messaged me about climate because he was sending pictures of his fruit bowl on Snapchat, and that's how I even done the piece. That's how you found me, Denny. That's how loose he is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got like bare gal them have got pictures of his kitchen and his fruit bowl. Do you get what I'm saying? Like just random females have it. Like, that's how much of an MESS he is. And it's so sad to think that this man has a big church cult that it still exists to this day. Like, people are still attending, even though my man's locked up. They won't let him out. No. Just like, look at TB Joshua. Look at what he did to them people. His wife. But I'm not going to lie, yeah, the wives are enablers. Do you know what? The wives are actually more EVIL than the husbands. And a lot of the time, they actually wear the trousers in the relationship. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They don't get. Because in order for these cults to work, the woman either is going to be completely like lights are on, no one's there, like the like KAC, like, can't remember, Rudolph. Is it Rudolph or Randolph? Whatever that pastor's name is, his wife. So they're just completely mute, completely disassociated. So someone else will take their position. When the first ladies aren't strong, and they just, yeah, because they're just so lights are on, no one's home, then there'll be like a lady pastor or someone that the pastor in the branch will raise up to be like a first lady. So she will have more authority, she will have more say so, she will have more like, it's almost like that's the pastor's second wife. I was like that. He was banned from charity, he's operating from the charity commission, he's operating a church illegally. Ooh, you need to expose him then. I would call up charities company's house, you know. I would call up the company's house records and I would tell them. I would send an email, Dennis. All right. So because loyalty is the badge of entry and also the badge of honor, a son honors his father, so his leader, and the house. That's how, so through the loyalty and disloyalty doctrine, that gives you clear behavior outcomes. If you're being disloyal, there's stages of disloyal. So someone's mum could have unalived and they could just be having a bad day, but to dag, that's disloyalty. Because if you're passive, it's disloyal. If you don't come when they've got on an event, it could be anything. You could be in hospital fighting for your life. It's disloyal. They just treat you different. They're absolutely bonkers in there. If you don't do that, you are not a son. If you're not like doing up everything that he says in terms of the loyalty and disloyalty doctrine, you're not seen as a spiritual son. So they'll kind of have you on the periphery, like the outskirts. They'll smile but you won't be like part of the inner circle. You won't be in certain meetings. You will feel that you're not really part of the fold because they don't trust you, because it's a cult. A church wouldn't even have this kind of thing on their agenda. Guys, like Up the Live, their whole motivation would be like preaching the gospel, like being like Christ, not frigging writing a whole book about loyalty and disloyalty. What the hell is this? This is all about maintaining his empire and keeping it, like, do you know what I'm saying? It's got nothing to do with souls. There's no mention of souls in this book. It's supposed to be a Christian book. There's no mention of souls. There's no mention of like the ministry of Christ, because you can put scriptures. I can write a Christian book tomorrow, babe, and slap in loads of scriptures. I could do a book on witchcraft and put scriptures in there, babe. Anyone could do it. Someone could do Hinduism and put script. Do you know, it's easy to do that. Anyone could do it, baby. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the law because Dag Heward Mills has written a book. That's what I need people to get. That's what they need to get. Because if they don't get it, then that's why we're saying that you're in religious psychosis, baby girl. So if you don't do what the book says, you're a dangerous son, you're disloyal, you're an Absalom, you're a devil, you're this, you're that. Understanding this teaching gives you the interpretive key. You see, your relationship to leadership, your place in the house, your inheritance, your security, your blessing versus curses. Without it, you are vulnerable, or you are outside. You don't have a covering, because you got to be loyal. You got to be loyal to the cult leader in order to be covered, because then you're cursed. It also functions as a gatekeeping mechanism. By emphasizing this, the leadership ensures that only those who accept the loyalty paradigm become full members, become sons and daughters of the house, get special treatment. And that special treatment, because remember, they ain't got lives, is in the form of getting to be called by the pastor, rolling, moving with the pastor, getting invited to meetings and getting put in meetings and given positions. That's what they do up. So the loyalty disloyalty doctrine serves both as an initiation and litmus test, internalizing signals. Yes, I'm one of you. Rejecting it rejecting the signals would be separation. So excommunication, you don't abide by the rules. You're going through a stage of disloyalty, leave. So do you see how dangerous this is? Because you could have a woman where a pastor's eating from the great bowl, but then she's being passive, she's not really getting involved, she's not coming to church as much. They can then demonize that female as the Jezebel, as the passive one, as the disloyal one, as the this, as the that. Then people will start to look at her as like the Jezebel, the disloyal one, when she is a great victim. And then the pastor's just carrying on in the cult. So again, they do this so that they can cover up ABUSE. They could cover up. It's just to give a free reign for ABUSE. That's all. It's a dictatorship, and it's a totalistic ideological perspective that is just misogynistic and patriarchal. Daggers are misogynistic and are eaten out of the great bowl. Great apologist. Yeah. The loyalty and disloyalty doctrine strongly aligns with avoidance of dissent and devaluation of outsiders. Leaving equals evil, so dissent is suppressed because people don't want to be branded as disloyal. They don't want to be blackballed. They don't want to be seen as the outsider. They don't, because it's going to be, everyone's going to come down on you. Silent treatment. You're not going to get invited. And another thing that these, like, because they're just mean girls in there, mean girls and mean men. The women definitely enable. They have like, the elitists will have like parties and they'll purposefully like won't invite certain people. Do you know what I'm saying? So they exclude people from the group with things like that. It's so horrible in there. There's bullying, there's discrimination, there's prejudice, it's horrible. And everything is like so fake. It's all just fake relationships. But if nothing's real in there, guys, I'm going to take a break soon because I'm going to have my tuna sandwich and tea. And then I'm going to come back. I've put out a lot of content. I've put out content for days so that I could free myself up to do a little bit more lives. And also I'm feeling a bit better. I've been so sick. Oh, Miss CHM, I love you. So we've got the father-son language, emphasizing leader dependency and reduces autonomy. The follower must submit rather than critically engage. That is a red flag. Huge high control dynamics at play. So when you hear them saying daddy, papa, run, it doesn't matter if it's just one man. It's even worse actually if they're only calling one man papa and daddy and whatever. And Dag actually told everyone to call him daddy and prophet. He loved it. Because but now that there's like a diversion from all of that, Dag is starting to change his rhetoric, and you can see in the audience they're just cognitive dissonance, because it's like, wait, hold on, you told us to call you this, you want us to call you this, you've been happy with us calling you this. So this is where we're going to see certain people start to leave, because they're going to be like, wait, hold on, there's going to be like that cognitive dissonance, like, wait, hold on, he didn't say that like 10 years ago. So that's why I would say that for you young'uns, just maybe zip it up, because you've been there for 5 minutes, and it does take a long time to see the contradictions and the lies and the prophecies that don't happen, unfortunately. And just all of the human fecal matter. Exactly, that's so true. He keeps changing his tune. You see, Dag is the king of contradiction, girl. Do you get me, black girl mind? Like he was like, I can't even remember what he was preaching about, but it was some sort of contradiction. And then he was like, this is apostolic teachings. He tried to try to use mystical manipulation, the smoke and mirrors. So we're like, yes, preach to us. It's just, when you see it, it's so sad and pathetic. Not the people, Dag. You know, like that. It's like a little boy screaming, you know, daddy love me, show me love, let me feel, I need gratification and validation from y'all. Give it to me. It's really sad. You know, the worst thing is to be like a man who's spineless, hides in ego, has a big ego and a small banana. And so we see those insecurities in the doctrine, in the way they break down the women, in the misogynistic patriarchal rhetoric, in the way that they condone SA and eating out of the great bowl. So we know that these men are that way inclined. And also, I want to keep the live. So this creates Okay, so the neural psychological reward of belonging, which is loyalty. So if you're loyal, you belong to this group. If you're loyal, your belonging is framed inside of this group. That's the transcendental belief system. So we've got to be loyal to Dagwood Mills, and you've got to have in your mind that you're staying in this cult. DHS bombs in the cut. I'm gonna call you. You have to. You have to be loyal, and you have to do everything that he says, and and everything that Dag says is the truth. Hey, babe. If you think contrary to that, then you're disloyal. So this creates a powerful emotional loop. The system becomes self-sustaining because people stay loyal to avoid loss, to avoid positions being taken from them, to avoid being branded as Satan, to avoid public humiliation, to avoid not being recommended as a wife and a husband. Because remember, it's the borster that's going to give the recommendation. If he doesn't recommend you, you ain't getting married. So if you're seen as a disloyal sister, you ain't getting married. And there's way more gal them in the cult than there is man them. So what are they going to do? Turn the women into pick-me's. So the most servanthood ones, the ones who break their back for the cult most, they're going to be next in line. So do you see when pretty Penny comes into the cult and she's with the assistant pastor, he likes her, they're saying no. Pretty Penny ain't going to get this pastor that we've poured into. We've made him what he is. Now he's wearing suits. He used to be a dealer, used to be doing this, and now he's wearing suits. He comes, he pays his tithe, he's got a good job. That's because of us. And you want to take him, and we don't even know, we want him to be with Cinderella. She's been here for 7 years. She deserves a husband, because what's going to happen if these women start seeing gal like that getting married? They're going to get depressed because of all the false doctrine. And also they hang the carrot like they dangle it like a, you know what I'm saying? It's like a something that they use to hang over people's head. It's mad. If it's like that in there, guys, just get out. Especially if you're a female. Like, I'm not even telling females to get out and get a man. Get out and do something for yourself. How about that? Get out and love yourself. How about that? Get out and connect with nature. How about that? Get out and get a hobby. How about that? Get out and pour into yourself. How about that? Get out and use your talents and your creativity and do something, because we need more women raising up. Do you know how many gal them we've got that don't have mothers in their lives? And all you can think about is getting a ring put on it. Like, it's just, but all these women will realize that they've wasted their lives. Luckily for me, God woke me up. So now I'm just going to dedicate my life to the cause for the rest of my life. I don't need a man. I don't even desire a man. I have absolutely no desire for a man. I have a desire for myself. I have a desire to love myself. I owe it to myself to try and do a thing for me. And for the rest of the women and my daughters and the next generation of females that are coming up. So let's look into the spiritual framing. Inheritance, blessing versus curse, increases the cost of leaving enormously. Leaving isn't just changing a job, because remember, it's not a job dynamic. It's sonship and daughtership. So you're seeing these ninjas like your real daddy. And if you've got daddy issues or mother issues, there are people who have real life attachments. Like, I didn't want to leave because I saw Reverend Edmund and Samoa as my real dad. Oh, so warped. It's risking spiritual identity. Your whole it's an identity collapse. It's an identity erosion that reduces likelihood of exiting the cult and increases risk of isolation or shaming for those who do, and also for you to get used and abused and exploited even more, because you're coming back. While not all systems emphasize loyalty so strongly, when loyalty becomes the core doctrine and criticism exit becomes demonized, the group may tilt towards cult-like control rather than open community. Because when we look at Stephen Hassan's influence continuum, cult expert, we see what negative and positive influence looks like. And not just in cults, this could be in relationships, because what negative influence looks like is that narcissistic control, the cloning. So in a relationship, the guy might want you, because they're psychos. Them abusive guys are crazy. So they might have a gal, you get what I'm saying, that they've never stopped loving in their psyche, and then they want you to be just like this girl, dye your hair blonde, do this, do that. So with narcissists in relationships, it will be a bit different, but in the cults, it will be like them trying to clone them, make them like the first lady, like certain uniform, they'll all look the same, etc. Hi, Dissent. You're all right, bro? Guys, like up the live, please. So I'm going to give you a summary, and then we're going to move on to, we're just going to look at how they control the men and make the men weak, soft, passenger princesses, femmes, like just all of it. So we're going to look, this is how I'm going to end it with this summary, and then we're going to move into the next bit. No, I'm going to end it with this, and then I think I should come back to do the other part. How long have I been on there? Yeah, I'm going to end it with this, guys, and then I'm going to come back with an exclusive. And I'm going to come back talking about some of the struggles that men go through, which is going to include schmegs addictions, popcorn addictions, acting out, intimate acts on self. A lot of that, we're just going to get into it, putting it all together. Here are 10 summarized points with focus on stages and demonizations. Let's get it. Loyalty is presented as the gateway to being a spiritual son, daughter of the house. Disloyalty is the doorway to spiritual peril. So do you see again, that's the black and white thinking, the positive and negative reinforcement. So when you're loyal, you're a spiritual son and daughter of the house, you've got it all. Dag's your spiritual daddy, you've got this covering, but it's subject to you being loyal in the house. It's spell work. They put something on you, man. Sorry, guys. I know this is a bit much. And then it's like when you leave. That's why we have to deprogram and deconstruct, because it's just psychology, manipulation. That's the real witchcraft, manipulation. And seduction is not evil, because remember, ladies, this is why I said you've got to deconstruct and know who you are, because like seduction is like a tool that we've been given, because we're not in a fair playing field. So we have to be like, we got what we've been given, be able to manipulate the men so that they don't put hands on us, so that they don't. There's some real EVIL men out there. Do you know what I mean? To open the doors for us, to just, do you get it? Just whatever needs to be done. I mean, I care. Like men were created to worship us. I don't care. That's what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? And we were created to be worshipped. When you get it the other way around, men will look for that in other women. And this is what I'm going to be talking about, because I've been speaking to some of the married men survivors that have left, and they've been really, really honest and upfront with me, and they've been like, Leah, you can share it, just obviously don't say my name. And it's sad because some of them, they're all right in the marriages, but some of them, oh my gosh, no intimacy. Ooh, this is a little exclusive for you as well. Word in these Dagwood Mills, Churchcock Streets, is that there's a lot of divorces happening at the moment. The first stage of disloyalty is the independent spirit, still present but acting autonomously. So do you see how they control your behavior? When we look at the bite model by Dr. Stephen Hassan, we can see that they control your behavior, and this is what they do it through, like having these behavioral outcomes which evidence to Dag that you're being disloyal. So this is the yardstick that they use to measure your disloyalty, which is a direct outcome of your behavior. Yeah, so that's how they control it. Or the pastors undermining the husbands. Yeah, they really do break down the men, but I think it's because they want the women to like worship them in there. I think they get jealous. It's all a control thing, isn't it? Like ego. There's so much pride and ego and testosterone in these environments. That's why you can't be. There's no Holy Spirit in there. There's no Christ in there, chair. Christ ain't like that. Christ has a very balanced masculine and feminine energy. It's not that it's like so genderless. Do you get, like, there's so much patriarchy and misogyny in there. I just don't see Christ. All I see is patriarchy and misogyny and ego. That's all I see covered in scriptures. The next stage, okay, the first stage of disloyalty, okay, so that's the independent spirit. The next stage is hidden disengagement, outwardly compliant, inwardly pulling away, labeled as dangerous sons. Thanks for the follow, Elon. Or is it Elion? The third stage is overt challenge or withdrawal of loyalty. Those who leave you. So anyone who challenges, has a different perspective, just says to the pastor, oh, actually, I don't agree with that. How dare you speak to me like that? It's like the uncle, or it's like it's tyranny. It's like a tyrannical dictatorship. You can't talk back, even if they're wrong. If they say to you 1 + 2 is 4, everyone will be like, even though they're thinking, oh wait, but yeah, that's the cognitive dissonance. Like they clearly know it's wrong. Like 1 + 1 = 2. But if Dag's saying 1 + 1 = 10, that's what it is. No Holy Spirit, it's witchcraft powers, monks using powers. Yeah, dark witchcraft though, you know, I don't like to demonize, but yeah, it's dark magic and dark witchcraft because, you know, anyway. There's been a lot of demonization, guys, and a lot of lies. There's been a lot of lies, and it's because they are the warlocks. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they are the EVIL. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like all of the dark EVIL witches, that they're all in the choir, and you can just see it on them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you could just, whatever they've described biblically and whatever they describe like in the scary films and the Disney films, they're all in these cults. They're in these places of worship. That's where they are. All right. The fourth stage. So do you see that they see it as disloyalty when you just have an opinion that's contrary to the cult leaders or the doctrine? Because they see the doctrine like the Bible. They'll tell you that they don't, but they do. The pastors aren't allowed to preach from the Bible. They can only preach from Dag's books. Because that's the way he controls them. If they're just preaching from the Bible, whatever, people are going to leave the cult because they're going to start to see that his doctrine is false. So he's got them preaching, teaching, doing exams, if they took themselves out of that environment for 2 weeks and didn't do up any of Dag's doctrine and allowed themselves to be open to information and actually read the Bible for themselves and look at it in context, they would leave the church cult. So the fourth stage is actual exit, defection, leaving the fellowship or aligning elsewhere. The key language is one of you is a devil. So when you leave them, they see you as a devil, as Satan. They brand you. They will talk about you in the cult like you've unalived. So that's why I'm so glad that their bubble's been burst. Because especially in First Love, like especially my branch, they can't be in there. Because you're just the Lulu then. Because your cult is empty. I got a video. So I've seen a video that their service, it's been cut in like half. The attendance is so bad. True, you see witches in leadership, very dark, like climate side chicks. Ooh. Do you know what it is? When you see that happen, sometimes the women are under a spell, though. They're actually vulnerable because some of them are schmeg slaves, Dennis. So there's that element of it as well. But but these warlocks, they turn it into a coven. So they actually have the women under a spell. It's all of it is spell work, and they also use schmeg's magic as well. They'll use the woman's portal. They'll be into blood magic and do things like when she's on her period. So the women get used and abused. Do you see what I mean? The actual witches are the men. But there are some women, though, don't get me wrong, because I don't have hate to men, but just a lot of our issues is this patriarchal misogynistic rhetoric. And the more, I'm celibate and I heal and, I get into like my divine femme energy, my divine feminine energy, I just can't help but think, anyway, I'm done with them. I love them as a friend, but romantically, I'm done with men. Definitely off the market. As I said, if they want to worship, adore me, get me gifts, shower me with compliments, of course, I'll be open. I'm always open to it. That's why I'm here, to marvel at the wonder of my beauty and how God's created me. But I just don't want a relationship with them. That's when it just gets so sticky, and they just want to siphon our energy, and I just can't do it. It's not for me. I've been in a marriage for a decade and I've had experiences, and they're just all quite the same. Okay, but I love you kings as friends. That's why I'm home girl. When it gets onto the other side, we just can't do that. All right, so after exit, the person is demonized, labeled as a spiritual enemy, drawing on biblical archetypes like Absalom, Lucifer, Jezebel, Delilah. So leaving equals rebellion. So the black and white thinking. It's not because we've seen Dag as a false prophet, and actually we've looked in the Bible and we've seen that a lot of this is heretic. It's heresy. And actually we just see him as a false prophet. You're not giving us a chance to explain. You're just shutting us down because you're so severely indoctrinated. And so what you're going to do is you're going to brand everybody that leaves as Lucifer, this and that. So what they're doing is fear-based programming. So they're making the people feel scared and afraid that these people are now demons, and it's like they've unalived. Yeah, pretty. You know what it is each and every time, child. That's why they hate to see your girl coming, because we all know it's true, and the people in there know it's true. But what's happening is they're getting a lot of people in and out of the doors now because they're not able to use their control tactics as much. So the people aren't getting as severely indoctrinated. They're going to do it slower over time because they'd rather have something than nothing. So that's where they're at the moment. It's just complete damage control. But I've said to God, I need something to happen by the end of this month. Otherwise, I just, I'm tired. I need to have something happen at the end of the month, chair. The doctrine frames loyalty and disloyalty in metaphysical terms: blessing versus curses, inheritance versus loss, and identity versus exile. So do you see the black and white thinking? So it's like they're afraid, oh my God, when I come out, I'm going to be ostracized. They're going to be talking about me. You're so afraid and scared, like, because you're so vulnerable when you go in there. They've rewired your brain. Your brain's like mush. It's like jelly. So whatever they're telling you, you're just going to be lapping it up because you're so desperate. You're so desperate for love. If you're desperate for love, I would just stay away from these. You know what? If you know that you're desperate for love, yeah, and you've had a lot of like issues like growing up, or you might have just been abused by men, whatever, I would say like take some time out for yourself. Like don't get involved in any dynamics of friendships, relationships, anything like that, because you need a bit of time to just like heal and just release that trauma. You can still have friends. Like I've started on, like opening up. Do you get what I'm saying? To kind of be a bit more open to friendships. And oh God, I need to even bring that survivor back as well. And doing more things with the survivors and things like that. But you've got to unpack the trauma. Then there needs to be like a time of isolation where you unpack that trauma yourself. And even if you feel like you're going to go like off, like completely lose your mind, it gets to that point where you've got nothing to lose. And no one else can do that apart from self. No one else can do that for you. Organizationally, this doctrine functions to ensure conformity, suppress dissent, so free thinking, critical thinking, all the above, and maintain the leader's position and reduce attrition. The result is a transcendental belief system. The loyalty doctrine becomes the lens through which everything is interpreted. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to repeat that again. Organizationally, the loyalty and disloyalty doctrine functions to ensure conformity, suppress dissent, maintain the leader's position, and reduce attrition. The result is a transcendental belief system. The loyalty doctrine becomes the lens through which everything is interpreted. So now you're seeing the world through the psychosocial lens of the cult leader, through his trauma, his hurt, his insecure attachment, his whatever, because you're being programmed with those ideologies. So your relationship to God, to the leader, to fellow believers, your destiny, all of it. You don't even have a relationship with God. So everything, so the lens in which everything is interpreted, family life, work life, study life, to your prayer life, with your personal relationship with God, everything is interpreted through the psychosocial lens and views of the cult leader. And that is through very dark, manipulative, concerning doctrine, like loyalty and disloyalty doctrine. Thanks, Hombi, for the follow. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take a little break and come back. I'm going to give you a little feeler of what I'm going to be coming back with. So when we come back, I'm going to be talking about, I don't think I'm going to go into the Catholicism stuff because I feel like the survivors are in a bit of a fragile mindset at the moment. And for those that are clinging on to Christianity with their dear life, I wouldn't want to come in and start to deconstruct Christianity at this point when I feel like things are quite volatile and fragile. Let me know in the comments though, that's what I'm feeling within. Hey Kado, how are you doing, babe? All right. So what we're going to get into, when we get back, is we're going to get into men that are virgins in the church cult, because I've had different guys that have come forward. So we're going to be looking at the lens of schmegs, just schmegs talk in the cult, and how men's like feelings and thoughts and stuff are suppressed, and how that leads to I don't even know how I'm going to talk about this. This is so sensitive. Might have to catch up with the live later. Oh, yeah. Come back when you're free, my love. And remember, it's all on YouTube. So if you want to go back, rewatch it, because this is a good live, guys. All of the lives on YouTube, I've titled them Loyalty and Disloyalty Lives, like part 1 to 4, so that you guys, when you want to go back, and actually I'll do a loyalty and disloyalty folder, and I'll put all of the loyalty and disloyalty lives in there, guys, just to make it a bit easier for you guys. So if you do want to go and deconstruct and deprogram, yeah, it's all there, because I do want to make it easier for you guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it can be overwhelming, especially when you're feeling like you can't do it anymore. Guys, when you're feeling like you can't do it anymore, yeah, and it's feeling crazy, that's when you need to go on my YouTube. Because even if you're crying, you can just have it playing, because what I've noticed is your physical body, because the body keeps the score, maybe doing the release, the crying, shaking, whatever it is, yeah. But remember, it's the subconscious that we need to deprogram and deconstruct. It doesn't have to be me. It could be a deprogramming cult podcast. It could be something from Yanya Lalage or Stephen Hassan or Carl Jung or Freud, you know, or a certain you know, psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever, guys. But have something play and share. Because whilst you're crying, you're deprogramming. And for the first, like when I first came out and there was like, I was trying to deprogram and deconstruct, I used to just have like stuff playing overnight. That's how like wealthy, like millionaires and stuff, like they program their mind to like get wealthy and stuff. So we need to do it to get that wealth, which is the peace of mind, the understanding, because for lack of knowledge our people perish. So that's what we really need to be doing up. All right, guys, so part 2, I'm just going to be exposing it all up when I get back. For those of you that can make it, I don't know what time it's going to be, guys. I'm going to try and have a little bit of, you know, just downtime. But how is everyone feeling before I go, man? How is everyone feeling? I'm so sad that I couldn't go on Instagram. My kids have broken the charger, so that's another thing. I got to go out and get a charger. What time is it? I got to go out and get a charger at some point. Oh, thanks, Hombi. Can I ask, if you followed me today and you were really feeling it, can you follow my main account, Leah Lauder 7? Because they're trying to stop me from getting to my main, like to get 10,000. So I can't even find all my videos. You know, like sometimes when I want to like cross-reference my videos or they're just all over the place. And I have thousands of videos. Like yesterday I put out like, I think it was like a 14-part series or something. Have you lot been seeing how I've been pumping out the content? Because I've noticed I need to have sometimes when I'm in tunnel vision, I'm just pumping out the lives. And then other times when I spend time to like speak to the survivors, and then other like people that I'm not going to mention. And then my book, because I need to start getting back onto that. But do you know what it is? Because I suffer from like mental health and I'm BPD and I got all this stuff. I'm sure I'm autistic and ADHD. I can write a book in like a night. Do you know what I mean? And keep myself up like for like 24 hours writing this book. I don't know. It's just the way my brain works. It's really weird. And nice to know some of what I have witnessed is true. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that it's validating. And again, user 150 when you're ready. You know, obviously, whenever you are ready, you might not be. If you ever did want to, you know, speak your truth. Because when I see people start coming in like this, do you know what I'm saying? I know that they've been done dirty. You know, when they start putting the scriptures up and they start like, you know, when I forget something, I'm seeing 150 come in and like say little things. So when that's happening, I know they've done you dirty because you've been severely in that indoctrination chair. I know that you was in the fold. Am I right? Because like you need time to like process it a bit in it before you can even start coming on the chat and that. Chair, these people really did us dirty, but it's all right, guys. Haynes, did I say hello to you, my beauty? I love you so much, Haynes. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. I'll be back there, guys. It's gonna be lives, just like back-to-back lives. That's what I'm gonna be doing because I've started putting out content. So now I'm gonna be doing these lives to hold the space. And I've got like a few survivors that I'm gonna be like. There's some RPF survivors that have come forward, and some survivors from a cult called Spirit Embassy. This is a new one that I'm going to be exposing. Have any of you lot heard Spirit Embassy? I think this one's going to be bad. I've had some serious allegations been made against that cult. I'm just waiting for the survivors to message me back. So there's a lot going on, Chair. And then I've got a lot of parents reaching out to me from First Love, RPF and Caris. And I think that's mainly because of the university campuses, guys. That's what I think, because you know what they're getting? They're getting like, you know, the good kids from like the single parent homes, like, you know, them kids that are like the first to go uni in the family and stuff like that. You know, them generational the cycle breakers, like the ones who are doing like a full-time job. The single mum struggled to do everything she can to like raise her child, and then this cult just come and swarm in and take your child off you. It's mad. And I want you to also factor in that a lot of these parents that are coming forward are vulnerable adults, and we're like they're like young single mums and vulnerable adults. And this is why they get away with it, guys. And this is why the parents are silent. So there needs to be a piece about the parents not feeling shame for their kids like being in it, because it could happen to anyone. It's not a reflection of like bad parenting skills or anything like that. I want the parents to know that, you know, they have done their best, and I don't want them to feel like shame, or some of them have anxiety and can't reach out and things like that. But anyway, I'll be doing more on that. I love y'all. I'll be back later. So TikTok, I'm gonna go. Mwah. I'll see you later, alligator. All right, bye. Ooh, I got no tutorials, which is amazing. All right, YouTube, I did a live earlier. No one was on. So I did a part 1 to this. So you lot might have been busy doing stuff. So if you want to go and check it out, it's on under my live videos. All right then, guys, bye. I just want to show my nails a bit because I just love my nails, but I can't find my ring. I had on my ring yesterday. It's gone. All right, guys, love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.